You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Thanks so much for joining in. Guys, I'm really excited about this episode, selfishly, because we have none other than Jake Segrin with SCAG, who is going to be talking to us today about social media, marketing, and how to grow our businesses. So, Jake, good morning, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's election day today. I got a busy day packed. I know you got a lot going on in your neck of the woods. We've been catching up for about 20 minutes before we hit the shiny red record button. So we got a lot to do, a lot to unpackage here. I want to be respectful of your time. So okay, so let's just jump into it, man. For the folks that maybe don't know you, you are the now the marketing manager for SCAG Power Equipment North America, which is super exciting. So congrats to the promotion, which was recent. But before that, you were working in their social media specialist for what, about 5 years, you were saying? Maybe 7 years?
Yeah, I'm working on year number 7 right now.
Nice. Okay, cool. And so basically, you and I, we've known each other for at least 2 years now, from all the lawn care events, the GIE, all this other mess, and just, honestly keeping in touch on social media. Well, as I'm putting together this podcast, and I said, well, who are some people that I want to interview? And I put together a top 100 list. And I said, well, I want to have Jake on here. Yes, you're with SCAG, and I'm sure this will weave into some of our conversation, working for those guys. Great company, great products. But there's a lot of really smart people in this industry that have some really good skill sets that some people don't really know about. They're behind the scenes. Maybe they're not like right out there on front, and maybe they don't have a YouTube channel, but there's a lot of great people that work at a lot of these great companies that selfishly, I want to pick their brains. I want to ask you guys some questions. And so why don't you just maybe give everybody a 30 to 60 second maybe background on your last 6 or 7 years, just so people know who you are and where you're coming from, if you don't mind.
Yeah, not a problem at all. Again, Jake Segrin with SCAG Power Equipment. We're based in Mayville, Wisconsin, have our network of dealers throughout the entire, not just U.S., but the entire world. My time here, I actually started a little bit of split time. I was working 50% on the service side with warranty department and just dealer support, as well as marketing and social media support. And that eventually shifted into just more of a marketing role. That origin of how I started actually helped me learn the product and the ins and outs of, how a lawnmower works, which helped me in a great way to support our customers with questions that they would ask us on social media or on our web contact forms. But yeah, I've been dealing a lot with social media in my 7 years here. Spent a lot of time attending seminars on the topic to help, further my knowledge on the topic to best serve SCAG as a brand and our dealers and the end users as well.
I love it.
So I've been doing it for quite a bit of time. And it's fun. Social is one of those things where it's a love-hate thing. You love it because it's just a fast-moving target and it's changing
sure.
at lightning speed.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's like, give me a break. Give me like 2 weeks where the best practice is the best practice, and I can just kind of get comfortable. But
right,
it's a love-hate. You got to be on your toes and ready to move fast, which is one of the things that gets me excited about it.
I love it. Well, I will echo and double down on what you just said. It's I love it because I do it, but at the same point, I have still no idea what I'm doing because every about 7 days it changes, and it is.
Yeah, you can never get comfortable.
It is so true, and there's so many people that are gurus and experts, and they all know the secret, right? So, and God bless those people. But what I want to do is I want to talk from a very practical standpoint on this podcast, because I said to you, Jake, these guys are trying to grow their business. They're maybe they're just starting their business. They don't potentially know how to use their business, how to use social media to grow their business, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
You and I, last couple of days, we've been brainstorming a bunch of topics and ideas that we're going to hopefully weave through. So if you guys have ever wanted to figure out how to use social media to grow your business, how to get customers, where do you start? Like, what platforms are working? What platforms aren't working? Jake is the guy to answer those questions. So let's do this. Let's hear from the announcements, and then we're going to jump right into Jake's story and talk about social media.
You're a lawntrepreneur. You run your mower and your business. Take care of crabgrass and your customers. You improve curb appeal and efficiency. You do it all. And now there's Cujo, a shoe that does it all too. Trash the grass-stained athletic shoes that can't stand up to slopes or dew. Put those stiff boots in storage and forget about the fatigue and discomfort they caused. You don't have to choose between lightweight comfort or water-resistant traction because the Cujo Yard Shoe is the best of both worlds. Every feature has been selected to optimize the performance and satisfaction of lawn care professionals. While you focus on laying killer stripes, we'll be there every step of the way. Check us out at Cujo.com, Kujo.com.
Jake, let's do this. Let's not waste any time. I want to make sure that, again, I'm respectful of your calendar and give these guys the meat, right? So let's talk about social media in general, like really simple stuff. Let's just lay some foundation here from the horse's mouth. From your opinion, what is social media? How does it work? And why should people be utilizing social media to grow their companies here in 2020?
Yeah, that's a great question. Starting at the roots. Social media, I was just actually at a conference out in San Diego last week that I've attended a few times. Social Media Examiner puts the conference on, which that's a trade pub that's kind of my go-to resource to stay up to date on social media news and those best practices, like we mentioned, that just change at lightning speed. But really, the big theme of why social media, for somebody that owns a business, for somebody that works for a big business like SCAG, myself, why social media? The main thing is because that's where your customers are, and trying to be able to touch your customers with as many touch points as possible. You and I were kind of talking about overall marketing strategies as a whole. As we were talking prior to this, you can't, I'm going to speak from SCAG's standpoint. We can't just focus on having a top brochure and kind of leaving our social to the side, or just focus on our website and leaving our brochure to the side. You really need to have as many touch points as possible. And, social media is just one of those. And a big thing, which I'm sure we'll get a little bit more in depth later on in the conversation, is, social media, especially once we start getting into the advertising side of things, just the trackability of being able to see how your ad spend, how far those dollars go, is a certain type of medium that you can't necessarily get with a yard sign or a printed piece, at least not as easily.
Right.
But the ultimate theme is why social media? Because that's where your potential customers are. And if you're not on there, really you're missing opportunity is the key word there.
Well, you and I were talking, and this is how I've been explaining it to people, is that if you look at a V8 engine, right? And you look at the different cylinders, well, to me, social media is just another cylinder. Like if you're not participating in social media, that engine might be misfiring. And anybody ever have an 8-cylinder engine and you got, cylinder 2 and 4 or, 3 and 5 misfiring? And I have, because I had my old red truck. And I will tell you, it is a very jerky experience. You're pumping the brakes. Things are not smoothing. You cannot go down that road 70 miles an hour, right? And so if you're ignoring social media, that's fine. You can still keep the engine moving. You can still keep the vehicle moving. But to me, if you're using it, it can super enhance and keep that engine purring, and you can go 100 miles an hour. In fact, sometimes not only just as a cylinder, but we were talking before. I said social media is sometimes the turbocharger on your business model, your engine, right, with all your other efforts. And so, so I really appreciate you giving the lay of the land. So, as we keep going, why should people, if they're already doing all this traditional marketing and stuff like that, and you're saying that they should get on social media because they can track it and your customers are also there, let's go to the other side of the coin. Why not just throw all your money only in traditional marketing, like postcards and flyers and yard signs? Like, isn't that just enough? I mean, shouldn't we just be throwing our money into traditional marketing?
That's a good question. And we actually have a Facebook group called SCAG Nation that's very, very active, much more active than we ever thought it would be, which is very cool, but that's another conversation. We actually posed the question on there a number of weeks ago to our followers, and a majority of these people are small businesses. We do have some of the homeowners that own our product as well. But we posed the question to them, what is your best form of advertising that you do for your business?
Nice.
And almost unanimously, it wasn't social. I mean, we had quite a bit of people that talked about the benefits of social that they see, but almost unanimously was not even some of the traditional. It was really word of mouth.
Yes. Yes.
So, hearing that, it's kind of like, okay, well, why are we spending time on the other things? It just goes back to that overall point that because your customers are there, there's opportunity there, and being able to touch your customers with multiple touch points. So, you see those ads if you do a search on Google for, say, you want to buy a new fancy fountain pen or something. I don't know why that example came up, kind of an odd example.
Sure.
But, it follows you around the web, and it's following you around the web to try to hit you with those multiple touch points. Just the more opportunity or the more times you're exposed to something, the more likely you would be to react to something. Traditional is good, but again, it just goes back to the theme that you and I have had here with the 8-cylinder vehicle, just hitting the customer on multiple touch points. One theme kind of on that topic, one theme at this conference that I was at, that was really geared towards some of the bigger brands rather than small, dealership level or landscaper level. The messaging was slow down. Yeah. Entrepreneurs. Thank you. It was slow down with your marketing efforts. Tell a story and don't try to take a customer that just learned who you are, Brian's Lawn Maintenance, or just learned who SCAG Power Equipment is. Don't take that customer and try to instantly close the sale. Show your credibility. Tell the story of why the brand. And, it just kind of goes back to all of that. By telling the story, slowing down, and touching multiple touch points, you're able to convey that message and, not waste time just getting someone that just learned about you and try to force feed them down that sales funnel and close a sale right away. Take the time and build the story and share your brand story with those customers.
Dude, that's huge. We are going to keep unpacking this stuff because it's going to be, I know there's going to be so many tips because you and I, we were like, excited little schoolgirls here talking about this before we hit record. And here's my my analogy. And imagine this. Here's how I look at social media marketing. Like, let's just say you're John Smith as a customer. You live in a $400,000 home value subdivision, and I'm a lawn care owner. I'm a lawn entrepreneur. I'm trying to pick up John Smith as a new customer. Well, here's my observation. Like, imagine the guy drives his nice Audi A6. He's driving into the driveway. I don't know why I picked Audi, by the way, but sure. I think
not Tesla.
Maybe a Tesla. Yeah, there you go. Model S, right? I think you picked fountain pen because you got promoted. Now you're thinking about executive things, And so
sure.
Big high back leather chairs and all your high end pens, right? So I'm just messing.
No. We're not like that. We all have standing desks here. Not that I use the standing desk too much. I'd rather sit, but we got all the standing desks. Nothing fancy here.
We're just messing. So Jake and I have been buds for a while, guys. So we don't mind ribbing a little bit. So okay, so John Smith pulls in with his Tesla Model S, right? And he goes to the mailbox, and there's a flyer on the mailbox. He looks at it, it says Brian's Lawn Maintenance. He goes, oh, cool. Probably a lawn care postcard. He might look at it, he might not. The bottom line is that it's a soft touch. It's an impression. Well, let's just say he picks up his kid from soccer practice or from the house for soccer, and he leaves in the Tesla Model S. And as he leaves the subdivision, what do we see on the end of the boulevard? A yard sign. So now he sees a yard sign for Brian's Lawn Maintenance, and it says, now accepting new clients for spring 2020, or something simple, or now scheduling spring aerations, right? Okay, cool. Well, he leaves there, and then he's going down the road, and as he's about to get onto the highway, there's a local Dairy Queen that might offer small town advertising, and for a couple $100 a month, I'm on their little digital board in between, the half off Sunday specials on Tuesday, and it says Brian's Lawn Maintenance, serving the greater Wixom area or whatever, and then takes his kid to soccer practice, right? And as he's at soccer practice, he's, talking with all the cool dads, and they got all the cool dad jokes, which I'm ready. And, I'm ready for those days. And so he goes onto his phone really quick, and he looks at Facebook, and he's catching up with his family. But as he looks through his phone, he sees a sponsored Facebook ad from Brian's Lawn Maintenance. And it might be a video, right? So where video's way more dynamic than just a photo. But he sees a video of some guy like myself laying stripes on, a neighborhood lawn in a subdivision. It looks really, really nice. And he's going, man, I just got a postcard from that guy. I'm pretty sure that yard sign's him too. I just drove by Dairy Queen. All the kids are gonna go to Dairy Queen again later, at 7:00 after the game, and we're gonna go to that Dairy Queen for Sundays. And I saw an ad there. I saw an ad at Facebook. Well, he makes a post about, his little son Blake playing soccer, and then he goes and takes that same photo, sends it to his wife. Well, his wife goes on Instagram, because she's more on Instagram maybe, and she posts the same photo to her friends on Instagram. And while she's there, you have another Facebook ad that might have targeted, the moms in the area, maybe age 25 to 55 with a $250,000 a year income or gross value home or whatever, and all these different values. And I'm sure, Jake, you can speak to this. And so while she's flipping through Instagram, she sees another Facebook ad for Brian's Lawn Maintenance. And you're like, that's interesting. Well, then they both get home, and at 7:30, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock after ice cream, where they saw your ad again at Dairy Queen, and they get home, and once they're at home, they're vegging out, kids are in bed, and they're like, oh man, did you cut the lawn today? How could I have cut the lawn today? Did you cut the lawn today? No, I'm trying to, spin the plates and take Blake to soccer while I'm taking our, daughter Sarah to swim lessons. Okay, well, we just don't have time to cut the lawn anymore. We need a lawn service. Oh, okay. Well, then, what do they both say at the same time as they're in bed, and they look at each other? They go, hey, have you heard about this guy, Brian's Lawn Maintenance? And then what do? They go Google, and they Google Brian's Lawn Maintenance, and I come up on number one, or top 10 at least, but number one with my SEO, because I have a Google free business listing. And I have a beautiful website. My phone number's available. And they call, and we get that phone call, and then after that we start the sales machine to make sure that we turn them into a client. Now, imagine this whole conversation. Imagine this whole. I wanted to take 7 or 8 minutes to really give a good imagination and paint a good picture of this. But Jake, is this kind of what you're talking about with you mixing traditional with high tech and social? Is this what you're talking about in this analogy here?
Yeah, that's exactly, the multiple touch points, getting kind of wherever you turn, you're getting hit with the brand, which, by the way, I did just confirm. I keyed in Brian's Lawn Maintenance on Google here, and you have your Google business account smack dab right there, which is good work on your part. Very well done.
So I actually have some credibility talking about what we're talking about, right?
No, that's the truth. That's the truth. But, kind of on that with the ads, and this is maybe in a little too detailed, but, very often we hear, when we're talking with customers, one of the things that makes them more profitable is being able to get route density.
Yes.
And having a neighborhood where you have, maybe it's a subdivision of 50 homes and you have 20 homes in that route, because that's one of those things that you can just park in the center of the neighborhood and go from lot to lot to lot to lot. You don't have to re-trailer. You're cutting down on all that time. Now, here's an ad idea if somebody's looking to do any sort of ads. One thing you could do is, if you have a particular customer in a neighborhood that you're targeting, you've got a few there, and you just want to grow the route density there. If you've got a customer that you got a great relationship with that would be willing to give you a review, if you'd be able to go as far as to create a short video of the customer talking about his lawn, Facebook allows you to really target at the home level, where you can go and say, I want to target this exact neighborhood with an ad. And what you could do is, this is just brainstorming ideas for you right here. Say it's that John Smith. You can say, John, I don't know if you have any time. Maybe you give him a free mow as getting some help from him. But you can create a testimonial review and basically really target it towards that specific neighbor. And maybe it's a house that's very familiar. Hey, the green and yellow house, I'm using that because it's Packer colors, of course. But the green and yellow house down the street, that's John Smith's house.
Okay.
He's been using our services for 4 or 5 years. You like the way his lawn looks, we can help you out too, sort of thing. Obviously different terminology you can use, but you can make that even much more of a personal feel, because they might know that exact house that they're seeing in that ad. Obviously, you would need consent from the individual, but that's just another way that you can really take it to a extreme local level and kind of add some extra credibility, like you mentioned, by having someone that, hey, they know exactly who that house is. They know exactly who that person is.
I love it.
Just a bit of a brainstorm there, but neat little idea I've seen some landscapers do before, and it's had some great impacts.
100%. Well, one thing that we have a guest of the show, Josh Latimer, and Josh Latimer has a website and a program and a company called Segrin, and Segrin is targeted postcard marketing. And so, there's passing out generic flyers, there's, EDDM, and then there's targeted postcard marketing. And so you can, so here's the deal. I joke about this, and most of you guys have heard this analogy before, but, I became a lawn care professional a decade ago, right? I'm cutting grass and I run a lawn and landscape company. Well, what I didn't know through the decade is that I would become I'll get my minor, if you will, if talking college, a minor degree in marketing. I didn't know I'd get a minor a degree in accounting, a minor degree in tax law, and tax prep. I didn't know that I'd be doing all these different things, a weather expert. I didn't know I'd become a pseudo meteorologist, right, Jake? With trying to prepare all these things. So as I continue to grow my company, the last thing I've really learned about in the last 10, 12 years is marketing, sales and marketing. Like, yes, we need accounting. Yes, we need controllers. Yes, we need this. Yes, we need all these different folks to run and grow the company. But if I was going to tell anybody, if you ever did go top heavy, you ever did tip the fulcrum, and you went deep into one thing, it'd be learning sales and marketing and learning how to make the phone ring, learning how to get customers. Like, I know, here's how I felt. I felt so frustrated when I would hear people say, yeah, we just turn on the marketing machine and we get customers at will, or, we get landscape jobs at will. I heard stuff like that 10, 12 years ago, and it was an enigma. You know what I mean, Jake? I was like, what is that? What does that mean? And so, but now I understand where if I'm going to do a marketing campaign, I call it the blitzkrieg, is my best analogy is that, man, in March, April, May, I know how to turn on my blitzkrieg machine. And to give that analogy I just did with making sure that people, you can't even avoid me in town. Like, I'm in your subdivision with my, big rig going down the road with my enclosed trailer with my signage. Like, you can't help think Brian's Lawn Maintenance in my town because of how much marketing and branding that we by design. And then another one, Jake, just to go full circle with John and Mary Smith, going to the block party for that HOA. Well, we mow the grass for the HOA, and then when they're at the barbecue, they're like, "Hey, who are you guys looking for? Have for lawn service? We're looking to sign up." And their neighbors Bill and Tammy. Well, Bill and Tammy have Brian. So word of mouth. Mm-hmm. So like, you can't escape. And this sounds kind of pretentious, but it's true. Like, this is how you know you have a lock on your route density, on your town. Like, if they think lawn care, they need to think your name, like, no hesitation. And it does take some investment. It does take some time to grow that marketing effort and that branding in your town. Jake, one question I have for you, and this was one that we actually didn't talk about off the air, but I wanted to, while we're here, talk about the investment side of marketing, because marketing isn't cheap. It's not free. But in fact, it can be if you know what you're doing. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you want to spend a quick minute here, you probably already know where I'm going with talking about like customer acquisition costs and, investing in the marketing. Some guys are out there and they're saying, cool, I get marketing, but I don't have $500 or $5,000 to run ads. I don't have $5,000 to run, get postcards. What is customer acquisition cost, if you don't mind? And then, could you explain to them how it can actually be free if you do it right, because those customers that you get essentially pay for it. So can you kind of break that down for maybe some people that don't know what we're talking about?
So just in general, customer acquisition cost is kind of the name described. The cost, advertising or marketing wise, that it costs you as a company to acquire a new customer. And one thing kind of I don't know if this is getting too far off of that question, but the budget thing, we hear that quite a bit when it comes and I can speak to dealers because I work very closely with a lot of our dealers who, social for them is just like a lot of the entrepreneurs that are doing the landscaping thing. It's a very wild, wild west frontier. They don't know how to tackle it that well. There's some dealers that do an incredible job on it, but there are still some that, don't really understand what to do. And one thing, it's kind of sounding very salesy and, this is why you need to do it. But one thing, and this is giving away some of our tricks to the bag, is when you have a great piece of content that you create on your social platform, whether it's a SCAG mower with the stripes in the background or a video, whatever it may be. We have ads here at SCAG that we run. I'm not shitting you, for $1 a day budget.
Wow.
That little. And that shocks some people. But if you have a piece of content that works really well, even spending as little as $1 a day, especially on the local level, you spend $1 a day to target such micro local area, like a lot of your entrepreneurs will be doing.
Yes.
You're promoting content that has already proved its worth. Something, whether it's a great testimonial, no matter what it may be. And the main reason I'm sharing that and mentioning that is the budget thing. It's something you can always just test. We talked about how very trackable social media is. Throw a small amount, even if it's just that $1 a day spend. Throw it as an ad on social media and track to see what it does. It's very trackable. You can see if that $1 a day generates you any leads. And if you see success and you want to expand that a little bit more, throw a little bit more at it. We have proven that even something as simple and as low cost as $1 a day can help you acquire customers on social media. So I don't know if that gets a little too off, but
it's
the
huge.
budget thing is always something that comes up, and we have seen success with some of those posts that maybe viral is not quite the term, but some of the posts that we have had that have just gone nuts. I kind of remember one of those lightning bolts, or we call them the zigzag stripe patterns, that we posted that a customer shared with us not too long ago.
Sure.
We originally posted the first one on one of our social media accounts, I want to say back in 2014. And it is a post that we still do that. We'll throw $1 a day at it sometimes in certain areas just to show this is a post that has done extremely well for us. And it's just taking your great content and throwing very minimal dollars at it. And, at the business level, landscape companies can do the same sort of thing for a very, very low cost.
I love it. Well, and that's the thing with returning to the customer acquisition cost. Let's say it costs you, I don't know, you're running an ad campaign or you get postcards made up and it's, $250 and you pass out 2,000 flyers. Well, let's just say you get the 1% return, right? That's always quoted, Jake, with direct hand billing, right? And postcards. Yep. So let's say it's 1%. Well, 1% in 2,000 is 20 people. And 20 people, they're not all going to be sales and final customers. But let's say that you get a $4,500 landscape out of all of that. When you really finally sift through all of it, you get 2 new lawn maintenance customers and then a $4,500 landscape install. Well, the reality is that if you do marketing and advertising right, in my opinion, it should overwhelmingly pay for the ad campaign and the investment that you're making into marketing, whether it's traditional marketing with postcards and yard signs, or like you were just talking about in a social media fashion with Instagram ads and Facebook ads, right? And so the one thing that Josh Latimer taught me, and I've also learned from other folks, is that don't be afraid to acquire a customer and put some money in to get something out. I think marketing and advertising is usually the one area of most people's businesses. I mean, it's alarming, really, that people refuse to spend money on. And I'm almost thinking to myself, imagine this. Imagine that you put a quarter into this Plinko chip machine, and every time you put a quarter in at the top, $1 or a $5 bill comes out at the bottom. I don't know how a paper, bill comes out of a Plinko machine, but you know what I'm saying, okay? And so, yeah. But if you put a quarter coin in there, and at the bottom a $5 coin comes out, well, imagine this: how many quarters do you want to put in this magical Plinko machine up at the top? Like, the obvious answer is as many humanly possible, as many quarters as you can, as humanly possible, you want to put through that machine. So I've always seen so many people say, well, I'm only putting 10 quarters into this machine and we'll see what works. Well, the bottom line is that not every quarter that drops through turns into a $5 coin. One out of every 10 turns into that $5 magical little return. But you have to be willing to spend the other 9 quarters because nobody can super track which one's going to produce, right? So, can you speak to that, Jake? Because how many times have you seen people, or maybe you guys have done this? You're like, well, we'll only put $20 into this. I mean, like, let's keep it really, like you said, micro for guys like me. They're like, well, I'm only spending $200 on yard signs this year because yard signs didn't work for me last year, or I'm only putting $100 into Facebook ads. Okay. Well, you might also picked up that small hospital system or that huge strip mall that pays $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year because of that one Facebook ad. But now you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Lifetime customer. It's about the lifetime customer value as well. It might cost you X amount of dollars to acquire that customer, but if you do your job properly and maintain them and give them top-notch service, that's going to be a customer for a long time. And that's one of the things you got to keep in mind too, is their lifetime value of being a customer of yours. Say say your average cut for them is $100 a mow. Depending upon where you are in the country, maybe you get about 16 mows in for them, 20 mows in for them, and you have them for multiple years. That customer's lifetime value is much higher than just one of those one-offs that you're doing. So that's just something to keep in mind too, as well.
Can you expand on that? So what you're saying is maybe it cost me 25 cents or $1 or even a magical $5, right? To what we call customer acquisition cost. Jake, is there times where you guys run marketing and ads where you purposely lose money knowing that you'll make it up on the back end for that long-term customer value?
Well, from our standpoint, from the SCAG sort of things, because we're selling what is definitely considered a high ticket item, any lawnmower out there is, we kind of have a little bit more freedom to have that acquisition cost be a little bit higher because it is such a high ticket item. The auto industry is the same way.
Yep.
So it's going to be a little bit different for us, but it's definitely something where that kind of gets back to the comments I made about, taking your time with cold audiences. When you're targeting just cold audiences, and basically a cold audience is, picture me, Jake Segrin. I have no idea who Brian's lawn maintenance is, but they need grass cut in his area. I'm a cold audience for him. I might be somebody that doesn't know that they want their lawn cut yet by a professional, that's still doing it on their own with an old tractor style mower that's constantly breaking down.
Sure.
Really, when you are targeting those cold audiences, you can likely see some of that ad dollars maybe come off as a little bit more, I don't know if wasteful is the right term, because you're getting your name out there, but some of those dollars, maybe kind of what the terminology you were using, could be considered kind of some of the lost dollars just to brand and get your name out there.
Sure.
But we never try to obviously do it intentionally, but we understand, especially when you're doing cold advertising, that's going to happen.
Well, I'll be honest with you, dude. Like, there's times I absolutely have 100%. Like, I pass out 20 yard signs every spring. It costs me $200. It's all extra credit, like, because I want more. I want more impressions and more soft touches, and I want here's the deal. Like McDonald's and IBM, they're not advertising to get you to buy a burger that day. They're not advertising to you so you invest into IBM's data management that day. It's when you cash out a bonus from work and you get $10,000 and you're like, wow, what do we put this? Well, do we want to renovate the house? Do we want to buy a new car? No. Okay, well, let's go put it into an investment. And you're going to think, I just saw an ad on TV at the Super Bowl for IBM. Like, here's the deal. Like, you can't go buy something from IBM. Like, as a consumer, like, what are you going to go buy from IBM? So why are they running ads? Well, the ads are there for you to invest into them as a company, but they're not looking for that immediate ROI on that. They're just putting that advertising. They're keeping you on the front of your mind. When you're busy running your lawnmower all day and you're going, man, I'm hungry, and then you think back because you saw an ad that morning or the night before about McDonald's, and you saw the Coke, dripping into the 20 ounce, cup, and you saw the ice bubbling and, the sound effects, right,
Making
Jake?
me lick my chops here, man.
So
it's better than a McDonald's Coke.
I know, right? What's better than a cold McDonald's Coke and fresh cut French fries with salt that you can literally see because they micro into that with that little lens, right? So they know that you seeing that ad starts this like chemical process in your brain of like literally it physically salivates and it wants a McDonald's burger. By the way, you might be smashing a McDonald's burger right now as we do this podcast. I don't know. But the bottom line is that more than likely, every human being has probably seen, whether you can think consciously or subconsciously, you've probably seen a McDonald's ad in the last 2-3 weeks. Why? Well, they're not running ads necessarily for you to, rip off the highway and go, man, I want a 10-piece nugget meal, which definitely sounds pretty good right about now. It's about lunchtime, but it's to keep their business on the forefront of your mind so that when you get hungry and you think food and you think convenience, you think McDonald's. Like same thing with lawn care. Like when those people need to go out of town on vacation, or they're just sick and tired of not being able to cut the lawn because their neighbors keep giving them the awkward keep up with the Joneses stare down. You know what I'm talking about, Jake? And they're like,
oh yeah,
they're like, man, are you guys going to cut your lawn? It's 4 inches tall, and the block party's this weekend. And John and Mary are like, you know what? Why do we live in a subdivision? Just kidding. We're going to be home. We're going to be homesteaders, and then they start a homesteader YouTube channel, right? Just having fun. But that peer pressure. So then here's the deal. When they think lawn care, again, it goes full circle. They need to think of you. You know what I mean? And so that's just some practical tips. I've absolutely spent money to lose in the short end, but to make it up in the long run, because we're trying to keep our name out front. We're trying to keep our name around town. And so, you might spend $100 to acquire a customer. You might even, let's say a customer does $1,500 a year with you. I would almost be willing to personally say, in my opinion, is that if you spent $1,600 or $1,501, like that's still a good deal, because you might make it up for those customers long term. You might make it up in referrals. Like you might do a $5,000 landscape install. Jake, I did another podcast with a gentleman named Sean Collingsgrew with Premier Outdoor Living. He does a lot with hardscaping. And he literally told me like his first 18 months, he didn't make any money. He broke even at best. But after 18 months, he had 18 different large hardscaping, landscaping jobs, like $30,000, $40,000, $75,000 jobs. And he was learning the business and building his portfolio. Well, he goes, even though I didn't make money on those said jobs, the referral to neighbors, cousins, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, dads, moms, all the referrals, he goes, has made me literally hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like it sounds different, but that's a marketing customer acquisition cost to him. It was an investment into his business to maybe do a job at cost. Of course, we're not trying to teach you to do a job at cost, but if you break even or lose a few bucks, okay, just make sure that you bring everybody on tour, Parade of Home style, to check out this new patio, and people will do that for you, Anyway, these are some really good tips. Like, I hope you guys are getting a lot of value out of this podcast, and you guys are really enjoying it. Jake, we got about another 20, 25 minutes. You still got some time where we can talk about some more X's and O's and go into talking about Google, websites, SEO. Do you got a few more minutes where we can break this stuff down?
Yeah, definitely. All definitely. Right. Fire away with your questions.
Well, let's do this.
I'm going to do the best I can to give you answers.
Well, you're a good resource, man. This podcast is helping me, so I hope it can help even the newest guy, obviously, then too. Let's do this. Let's hear from the ads one more time. Quick announcements. I'm going to grab a sip of water here, and we'll dive right back into things.
You're a lawntrepreneur. You run your mower and your business. Take care of crabgrass and your customers. You improve curb appeal and efficiency. You do it all. And now there's Cujo, a shoe that does it all too. Trash the grass-stained athletic shoes that can't stand up to slopes or dew. Put those stiff boots in storage and forget about the fatigue and discomfort they caused. You don't have to choose between lightweight comfort or water-resistant traction, because the Cujo Yard Shoe is the best of both worlds. Every feature has been selected to optimize the performance and satisfaction of lawn care professionals. While you focus on laying killer stripes, we'll be there every step of the way. Check us out at Cujo.com, Kujo.com.
Jake, we got about another 20 minutes, and I want to press you. Like, I want to ask questions. Like, this is good stuff. This is helping me. These podcasts keep me sharp. So, before we jumped on the podcast, I had asked you if there's any one thing that you want to make sure that you get across that you think is good info. Make sure that you let me know. And you said, well, I want to talk about Google and Google free business listings, because correct me if I'm wrong, but you said everything starts with Google. So can you speak to that and maybe share?
Google.
Yeah, go ahead.
Google is king. This conference I was at, everything always really seemed to circle back. And they've been saying this and preaching this for years, and you can read a lot of articles on it online. Google is king.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that's happening a lot with search, and again, Google is king. All search happens on Google. Those of you that use Yahoo is a little odd still, but that's all right. Google is king. So by that, I mean, a lot of what is happening on Google right now is if customer XYZ, no matter who it is, if they're looking to search something, I'll use a sports example.
Mm-hmm.
Who won the 1996 Super Bowl? It was the Green Bay Packers. For those of you that don't know, I gotta support the hometown team. Give you guys a little crap for the cross division rivalry.
We have the Lions, bro. There's not much going on there. So
yeah, I can't. I really shouldn't. I
pick on somebody your own size.
We'll use a different example.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
just kidding.
But,
go ahead.
As good of a website as you could have. Now that's a really easy answer. It's just a quick. You look up and there's a quick answer.
Mm-hmm.
But as good as a website as you might have, what Google's been doing quite a bit with search is they've been having at the top of the search results, they've been having snippets from articles that are posted online. So what's happening there is rather than the customer or the searcher, I should say, having to go click on a website, one of the top ones, whether it's an ad that shows up at the top or it's a organic websites like Brian's Lawn Maintenance's business page, Google is surfing your page to try and find the answer and have it preview right at the top. So then you are losing a click because the customer is getting all their info. So that's one facet of it. The other facet too is the biggest thing, especially for small businesses, is that Google My Business, that free listing. Now, I'm looking at yours right now and just kind of going through there. You're going to see some pictures. You're going to see the location of where you're physically at. A big thing you're going to see is reviews, your hours, your service market, a link to your website. There's a section for people to ask questions, and then it goes back down into reviews. And it goes into a little bit of some of the content that's on your website. It looks like it says from Brian's Lawn Maintenance. This looks like it might be from your About Us page or from your main. It says we provide lawn maintenance, landscaping, snow removal service. It goes on. But it's really going to give the customer a snippet and a preview of this company that they're searching for. And if Google doesn't know you exist, you pretty much don't exist in the online sense, in the online world.
Sure.
Google My Business is free. All it takes is setting up your account and claiming your business. And one thing that you run into if you don't physically claim your business, you say, hey, I'm Brian. I own Brian's Lawn Maintenance. Google is going to just try to pull information from their search, from crawling the web. And that information might not be accurate. It might be a wrong phone number that's listed. You'll be surprised how many dealers or just companies in general don't have the right contact information up there. So those are missed opportunities right there. If somebody's looking for their lawn to get cut in Michigan and you don't show up, that's a missed opportunity. And the other big thing about that is reviews. I'm not sure if you've had podcasts on it, but I know you've talked on your YouTube channel the importance of reviews.
Yes.
A great practice that the auto industry does that I always preach to a lot of our dealers, and it goes for landscape customers as well. The auto industry, every time I'm a stereotypical suburban subdivision dad. I bought a minivan. I know. I drive a minivan. I get crap for that amongst my friends. But
it's all good.
When I bought that minivan, we had a full family picture in front of the dealership with the car in the background.
Okay.
It is that dealer's policy to get a picture if, obviously the customer has to approve of it, but to get a picture of those and try to get a review because high reviews are just going to benefit your business. And if you want to take it full circle and get back into talking about running ads, if you want to create a local ad for your neighborhood or whatever area you're trying to target, you can take some of the content from that review and use it as the copy in the ad. Ad or review and testimonial copy makes really darn good ad copy for when you get into running ads on social media, or even if you do print ads, because those are customers explaining exactly why Brian's Lawn Maintenance was good for them. It was a great solution for them. So because those are the things, the reviews are usually talking about the pain points that a customer is experiencing. I did not like cutting my lawn. I wanted it to look absolutely superb. Brian did all of that by showing up on time, always leaving a great looking quality of cut, so on and so forth. So reviews, just being able to control them there is an important thing too. And you also have the opportunity as the business to reply to those reviews. So you can show that you actually care about those reviews that are coming in. And, whether it's a good review or a bad review, it's always important to make sure you're replying to those reviews as well.
100%.
So I probably got a little bit off topic, but
no, that's
kind of tried to summarize Google as a whole and just the importance.
No,
Google is king, and you need to claim your business on Google is the best place to start before anything.
And it's free. I mean, that's the best part. Like that's if you're starting a new business and maybe you don't have the money to spend. I call it guerrilla warfare, like guerrilla marketing, right?
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent. Like my whole social media company that we run, this motivated media, a thing that we have now, with YouTube and Instagram and the podcast, we've never ran any ads for anything anywhere. It's all guerrilla. Why? Because I didn't have any money to throw into it. Now I should, thinking out loud to help promote it. But everything we have has been guerrilla marketing. So if people are like, well, social media doesn't work or free doesn't work or the Facebooks and the Instagram. Okay, well, we have 125,000 people following us for everything that we do. And we get millions and millions of views a day. And we spent $0 to acquire any of it besides a camera lens, a microphone, and a good mic. You know what I'm saying, Jake? And so, like you said, to go full circle, it's lost opportunity if you're not doing this kind of stuff. Now, you actually just made a really, really good point to me was two things I wanted to say because you made me think these cool analogies where Google free business listing, let's say you have wrong information up there. Like you don't take the time to add photos. You have the wrong email, the wrong phone number. One thing with social is that you have to keep up with it. You have to update, you have to populate. It's not always in front of you. So you have to make sure that every 6 months to 12 months, you should probably review it just to make sure things are relevant. And so imagine, like you said, you get this huge fishing net out there, but you got all these holes in your fishing net. And then you pull everything back in and you're like, well, where's all my fish? Well, you had the wrong phone number up there for 5 months. I know so many people that's happened to, or they're trying to send people to greenlawnenvy.com, maybe is the name of your business. I don't know, but you typed envy, like ENVY, you typed in ENEVY. Simple mistake maybe, but now you had, like you just said, Jake, 13,000 searches or impressions in your town, and everybody went to the wrong website or 404 not found, and you're like, well, why is my website not working? My website sucks, or whatever. Okay, well, maybe you had a simple typo. Like it's so remedial, but that's why sometimes we're talking big macro stuff. Sometimes it's the blocking and tackling. And by the way, one other thing too. You made a really good point about taking photos with, people that buy a lawnmower, right, at a dealer. It's now a policy at my trailer dealer, Kelly and Sons. Great people there. So Sue Kelly, anytime you buy a new trailer, she asks if she can, put a koozie in your hand with a Coke and, of course, stand in front of your brand new trailer, take a photo, and put it on their Facebook. It takes 10 seconds to do that, but now they have this rolling testimony page, if you will, on Facebook of all these different people buying trailers and having a positive experience. Well, how do you bring that down to what we do as entrepreneurs and running our own small business? Well, you can do the exact same thing with taking a photo, like you said, with permission. I always try to get a text message or one thing you can do, to be totally honest with you as well, let people know that it's in there, but put a clause in your contracts or your agreements or your invoices that say, hey, one thing is that we do take photos for social media, for Instagram or YouTube or Facebook. Any photos taken on property can be used in this fashion. Consult a lawyer. I'm not trying to give advice here, but just, make sure that you might want to include some of those clauses. We have those in our commercial contracts. We say, hey, any photos that we take on property can be used for social media, basically in any way we deem necessary. Like that, Jake. And so by design. And but if you're doing YouTube, great. Like I am, awesome. But if you're not, no big deal. Like just make sure that you have these written agreements and people know that when you're snapping a photo, it's not weird, I should say, in 2020 to, be taking a photo at Target and putting it on your Facebook, right? But, 5-7 years ago, if you pointed a camera at somebody, they might get physically, they might assault you. It's just, and by the way,
definitely have to respect the privacy.
Exactly. So I don't want to go down that route with trying to give you guys all the tactics on that. Just make sure you're being respectful. Like, don't take photos of people's backyards if they don't want you to. But if you're curbside and say, hey, do you mind your lawn stripes really well? Do you mind if I take a quick photo of it and put it on Facebook? And John's gonna go, yeah, dude, for sure. Like, because he's proud of his lawn and he wants to support you. So that's an easy way to create those kind of posts on your Instagram, on your Facebook. Hey, Jake, I have a question for you. It's one question I get a lot is, should you market business to business or business to customer? Like, should people in the lawn care industry be creating content for contractors, like their peers and their friends, or should they be making content to acquire customers? Do you think that they should separate it? They should do both, or just figure out who they're trying to market to? No right or wrong answer. I'm always curious to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, really, it depends upon what type of business you're running. If you're really only targeting commercial accounts, is that kind of what you're getting at? With
100%. Yep. Like, if your customers
so
stumble
if you're
on your
running
page,
a lawn care company, that just does residences, I mean, you got to gear your content towards that. You got to gear it towards your audience, because really, what you want to do is you want to have the person that's viewing your content, taking in your marketing. You want them to be able to feel as if they're in the shoes or in the eyes of what that piece of marketing is.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, if we're, speaking on the SCAG side of things, our Liberty, Freedom, Patriot, those are a little bit more homeowner targeted machines. A lot of the content that we create for those are going to be on Johnny and Sally's front lawn. We're not going to do too much on commercial. Granted, those machines do get used for commercial, but still, you want to definitely, as best you can, adjust to your target market without a doubt.
That's huge. Well, again, if you're running an ad that says now accepting new commercial clients, you might want to not take a photo of you being on, John and Mary's front lawn with your zero-turn mower. That's not a commercial site, right?
Exactly.
Great tip.
You need to have them be able to envision, that's my scenario right there. I am a superintendent for a business facility. I do the grounds maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do mowing, but this Brian is trying to sell me, he maintains the Target lawn or whatever company it is,
manufacturing
professional landscape.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's able to envision now, hey, my business can be done like this too. And the same goes for residential.
I love it. That's huge. Again, it's one of those things where marketing and social media, for sure, it's always it's a moving target. It's a fast moving target, and so you got to just make sure that you're thinking. I always say, just spend some time thinking with your marketing efforts, because we call it your customer avatar, right? Like, who are you talking to? What are you talking to? Why are you talking that way? What are you trying to communicate? What's the value add or the value prop? A value proposition is like, what are they going to get out of this exchange or this purchase? Like, what are you trying to, like on my YouTube channel? Hey guys, like today, my channel is all about helping you guys grow a more successful business so you can go out there and crush it. Well, if you're trying to grow a more successful business and crush it, well, maybe you want to listen to our videos. Oh yeah, I do want to go out there and crush it. Okay. That's the value prop, and so, make sure you do the same thing with your business. Jake, how important is it to have like good branding, good colors, good taglines or quotes, like a cut above the rest, right? Or all these like, do you feel like people don't maybe spend the time necessary that they probably should to really come up with a good name, a good logo, good colors, good branding? Do you feel like people spend too much time or too little time on those topics? Just your opinion. No right or wrong answer.
Consistent brand message is important. You want to, I'm speaking to SCAG standpoint here. I want, when people are looking through our social feed, to say, the feed is endless. We know that. Instagram, as an example.
Yep.
I want, as them strolling, to have a photo catch their eye, and they don't even have to look at the name of who it is that posted that. They know that that is a SCAG photo. You look at YouTube as an example, and you do a really great job of this, not to toot your horn anymore than
Yeah.
is needed.
Thanks.
But you look at your thumbnails. A lot of your thumbnails have the very same consistent look and feel, where as you're scrolling through it, I mean, marketing as a whole is a battle for attention.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can have consistency where people are comfortable with, a lot of the same, seeing what they're familiar with. If you have that consistent branding, whether it's your logo, whether it's your tagline, whatever it may be, people are going to know, hey, that's your content. I know I like your content. I'm going to go consume your content. So yeah, it's definitely important to keep that. Keep that in mind and try to stay consistent.
Well, there's we can't go down every rabbit hole here and talk about every X's and O, but this is stuff that I've spent 15 years learning, man. And I mean, Jake, YouTube way before obviously you were just working with SCAG. But if you guys ever want to go down the rabbit hole and you want to look at go Google the color wheel. And we all learned this back in art class, right? Like purples mean certain things, reds mean certain things, the color blue means certain things. Like, an old one that's been talked about, and I don't know the exact stat, but if you looked at the sales volume for Campbell's soup with a red label versus another brand that has the same chicken noodle soup with a blue label. Well, if you're feeling not the best and you just want a quick can of soup and you want to feel comforted, you're going to pick the red label because you think warm, you think hot. And when you're feeling sick, you don't want a blue label can of soup because you think cold. You're already cold. And so Campbell Soup sells, whatever the stat is, 5 times as many Campbell Soup cans compared to the next competitor that has a blue label, and there's reasons why, all your snacks and your chips and your Cheez-Its, all the boxes are red. There's a reason why cookies are yellow. Yellow is happiness, right? And so you're like, if you've never heard this stuff before, your mind's like, oh my God, there's reason why the Taco Bell sign is purple. Okay. Go Google color wheel emotions, color wheel psychology, color wheel sales, color wheel marketing. There's reasons why my thumbnails, new mower reveal, it's in yellow for the thumbnail or red in the thumbnail. You know what I'm saying, Jake? And then people go, well, you're just lucky on YouTube, or, I'm like, dude, we're building a business. I'm trying to be strategic with how I create my marketing. And it goes right into even YouTube. You know what I mean? It goes right into my postcards and marketing. We have a green postcard, right, that we got created up. But you see big, bold yellow, Brian's Law Maintenance, and then you see this red, 20-point star, circle, right? It says right in the middle, one big red thing. There's no other red on my postcard, but it says now accepting new clients, right? So you pick up that postcard, it's green. It kind of washes out by design just to get something in your head or in your hand that says Brian's Law Maintenance in red, now accepting new clients. Boom, boom, in a millisecond, you can see that it's a lawn care card and they want more customers, right? And so these little tips, to me, were huge when I learned this stuff 10, 12 years ago. You know what I mean, Jake? So hopefully we try to keep it practical as we offer value to all of you guys that are, listening in. Jake, I have a couple questions for you. What is social proof? We hear that word tossed around a lot. What does social proof mean to you when we're talking about running ads as small business owners? Are you talking about views and impressions that make things look more legitimate? You talked about reviews, right? Can you speak about social proofing for just a few minutes? I think it's an important one that people want to know about.
Yeah. So social proof just more or less is providing validity. I mean, you and you can go that route via testimonials, reviews, whatever it may be. Nowadays, more than anything, especially now just speaking to the Facebook side of things, social proof is meaningful engagement. Coming out, especially with you, you and I have talked a lot about your YouTube channel over the years, and the best content is the stuff where I'm going to easily trade something that's been viewed 1,000,000 times for something that maybe has been viewed 10,000 times but has 10,000 comments on it. Sure. Meaningful interaction, because that meaningful interaction is going to be your social proof. Mm-hmm. Yes, the views are going to be a big impact, and someone's going to say, "Yeah, this has been viewed a whole lot of times." But if you have people physically taking the time to go back and forth and offer their proof that, yeah, what this guy is talking about, I've tried this practice in my business, and you're creating that meaningful interaction, there's your perfect example of social proof. And, to go even one step further on that and kind of circle back to the Facebook portion of things, I want to say it was about 2 years ago or so, Mark Zuckerberg, he made a comment about dramatically altering the news feed and really putting an emphasis on meaningful engagement. And that's why a lot on Facebook right now, if anyone's going through and doing a scroll, a lot of the content you're seeing more than anything, rather than me seeing posts by my best man or my friends from high school, it's going to be more than anything posts from groups that I follow. Because groups right now on Facebook are where you're trying to find a lot, and they ran some Super Bowl ads on this topic, I believe. You're trying to find a group of people that are like-minded, that share a passion. And there's groups for absolutely anything out there. And those groups are where you're seeing a lot of that social proof take place. A lot of those testimonials, just meaningful engagement. That's where quite a bit of that is taking place right now.
I like it. Well, it's huge when you know what I look at, and this goes full circle to running our lawn businesses. I want you guys to, take a few minutes to learn how to create social proofing, which is, for us, I feel like ratings, reviews, testimonies, those are huge, and you should always be asking for them. Here's one that I got. This is really low hanging fruit. You ever seen an Instagram ad, Jake, and of course you run them, in your role, in your position at SCAG. But you ever see like an Instagram ad for like the newest pair of running shoes or something like that? And super sexy ad, super sexy, photo, and then you click the ad, and you look at the post that's promoted, and there's 3 comments, like what is this? Is this real or fake? These shoes suck. You see, that's just what you're gonna see, right? And there's 3 comments, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, like I don't even know what brand this is. Like, are these guys legit? Do these guys exist? Is this really like a good brand? And then I see the next ad pop up, and it's a purple ad for a purple mattress. And by just saying the word purple, do a quick little case study here. Let me know if you guys see the purple ad pop up in your in your feed on Facebook, because I bought a damn purple mattress and they still won't stop messaging me on Facebook, or ads with I mean, they are the craziest cult I've ever met of ads and retargeting. And but here's the deal. You see an Instagram ad or a Facebook ad with purple, and I mean, there's 800, like you said, Jake, there's 800 comments, 1.2K shares, because it's like a funny video of like the caveman family, I forget the ad. And it's funny, it's cool, it's catchy, it's engaging. But there's, like you said, 20,000 likes, 800 comments, 1.2K shares, and it's a lot of engagement. So to me, I look at, like you said, validity, authenticity, like credibility. Well, what I'm trying, your brain is weighing these out. Like your brain's not dumb. Like you are judging whether or not this is a real brand, a real company, or you want to spend money. Well, the same goes for you with running your lawn care landscaping business, and you run a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad. Like, make sure you take time to don't just run the ad and think that you just set it on autopilot and you're good to go. Like, make sure that you are monitoring and tracking the engagement. Make sure that you're asking people to review or leave comments. And when people do comment, like you said, Jake, a huge one is replying to comments, engaging people, like having, they're called conversations, get those conversations going. And so I think talking YouTube, like everybody used to get lost in this guy's got 1.5 million subscribers, right? Like, huge. And then it went to a more measurable thing, which was views. And views were like, well, yeah, but this guy's got 1.5 million followers, and he gets 100,000 views a month, and this guy gets 100 million views a month. Okay, well, there's a big difference with engagement. But then you look at the comments, like Mr. Beast, for example, he gets 20,000 comments, 20,000 likes, and 20,000 thumbs up. And the engagement is like, 4%, 5%. Versus the next guy who gets a 0.015%. You guys look at that stuff, Jake. You know what I'm talking about. These are really important numbers to measure as you run a business, whatever size. Is this not true?
Oh, definitely without a doubt, engagement, and that just goes back to staying on the track that you're talking. I mean, is one view worth more than one comment? How easy is it to view something? How easy is it to give something a thumbs up?
Mm-hmm.
creating content where people are going to be engaged and interact with each other. That's your social proof right there. And that should be really what you're targeting in any of the efforts that you do.
I love it. I love it. Well, this might be some 202 stuff as we get a little bit heavier here, but this is the stuff that I wanted to talk about. This is the stuff that I didn't know 10, 12 years ago. I guess because social media didn't really exist, but not in the capacity it does today. But with what we're talking about today, social media, it's a guerrilla warfare marketing. You can put money behind it. I don't think you need to necessarily as a lawn care business owner, other than maybe a small little ad spend on Facebook ads, a small little ad spend maybe on some Instagram ads. Just figure out, to go full circle to my other point earlier, just make sure you figure out who you're talking to. Don't do what I'm doing. I'm talking to other contractors, trying to help them grow a larger, more successful contractor business. My customers, they stumble upon my content. That's fine. It's not directed or created for them. At one point, I had a Facebook page for my clients, and then a Facebook page for YouTube, for all you guys that are listening. And then it actually got really murky about 3 years ago, Jake. And my customers were following my YouTube channel page, and it's like 6 ways to make more money charging for lawn care in 2020. And my customers are like, what? And how much we made on this $600 mulch job? And they're like, you made $300 in 4 hours? And I'm like, yeah, don't worry about that, and just having fun. In fact, all my customers like that I've had engagements with, they follow me. Like, they love the content. They're like, man, you just made $700 on that landscape job. Like, good for you, man. Like, I know you're a hustler. Like, good for you. Like, all my customers are like my biggest fans on YouTube, and I'm giving away all the secrets, So I guess full circle is just make sure that if you make an Instagram page and you're trying to target your customer, show thing that your content that your customers want to see. If you're trying to market to your peers and your lawn bros, that's fine too. You're probably creating other content. Just, don't. Here's one thing. Don't go on Facebook if you're a business owner, a lawn care business owner, and say, man, I'm sick of these customers that don't pay their damn bill on time. They're all morons. Like, why can't people respect me? I see them with a Mercedes in their driveway. And I'm like, you probably don't want to make a post like that, knowing that 20% of your customers are probably your friends on Facebook. Like, be a
Need to be a little more vanilla than that.
Way vanilla. You have to be a professional. Like, professionals don't do that. Like, imagine if Nike made a post, Jake, saying, or Dick's Sporting Goods. Imagine if Dick's Sporting Goods made a post and says, we're so sick and tired of the 25% of people who walk through our store don't buy a damn thing. Like, would you imagine Dick's Sporting Goods saying that? No. So don't do that with your own business. Dick's Sporting Goods has their own problems internally. They don't want to deal with some of the problems either. But it's all positive all the time, when you're trying to run a company, for the most part, right? It doesn't mean be fake. Just be authentic, be real, but be a professional, man. Like, you run a business. Like, don't be running on your Instagram like, look at these killer stripes. And then the next thing I look at your Instagram stories is you are, at a kegger with your lawn bro, and you guys are, at Faster Horses here in Michigan, drinking and partying and doing stupid stuff with girls. Like, you can do that on your personal account, but do not do that on your business account. Okay. Like, this is probably redundant, but I just wanted to, I see so much stuff on Instagram and I'm like, dude, like, you need to clean that up. Like, I don't care if you're talking, your mom should even be finding your Instagram. You know what I mean? And so anyway, just trying to be real here, try to give you guys some practical tips for some of you young guys too. So, Jake, here, we'll wrap it up, man. It's already been, a little over an hour. I super appreciate you, sharing your advice and some of your tips. One thing I like to do at the end of a podcast is like just open mic. Is there any last tips that you wanted to maybe share with some folks about social media marketing, that just like all encompassing, or maybe some resources like, I don't know, Gary Vee, or a good book or anything that has helped you as you create social media content and marketing and advertising content in general?
Yeah, so obviously when you and I started chatting about this topic of doing a podcast together, I mean, there's so many places we can go with social, and some of the talking points you sent over, we didn't get to some of them. You could have just podcast after podcast going over so many different things with regards to social, be it advertising, how to best practices for Facebook, best practices for Instagram, and so on and so forth.
Sure.
But, one thing that, and I'm going to speak to when I talk to dealers, one thing that I'm stressing to dealers on, how do you start? Where do you get started? I'm not talking about necessarily creating a YouTube channel or whatever it may be. The easiest place to start is probably going to be, in my opinion, is to start on Facebook or Instagram, one of those two.
Okay.
And no matter what platform you pick, select one platform and become an expert at it.
Yes.
Don't be scared to fail. Try different things. Try a certain type of post. And if it doesn't work, if you don't get good response, just don't do that again. It's an easy trial and error sort of thing. Focus on one place and work to humanize you as a brand. Work to build those reviews. Work to build some of that social proof. Use it as an opportunity to create your work portfolio. One thing we do on our Instagram account, again, we treat our Instagram pretty different than we do our Facebook. Our Instagram is predominantly customer shout outs and showing the work of our customers. Mm-hmm. And one thing that we get comments on quite a bit from some of our dealers is when they have customers that come into their room and into their dealership and ask, well, how does this cut? What kind of performance does they have? We have dealers that'll pull up our Instagram and say, you want proof of the quality of cut of a SCAG? Just scroll through their Instagram feed. Use it as an opportunity to build your portfolio, to humanize you as a brand, to showcase the work that you do in your community, because ultimately your community is who you're targeting. If you sponsor a local little league team, you better be shouting them out on your social profile that you choose. You know, it's a no doubt. Be the go-to landscaping company in your community. Mm-hmm. Everyone. The goal of marketing is to become the term that's used to describe something. And by that I mean Kleenex. People say, "Pass me a Kleenex." Kleenex is a brand name,
right?
Xerox. It's actually face tissue is what you're buying. When somebody is thinking lawn care in Michigan area where your market is, if they say I need to get lawn care, they need to think about Brian's Lawn Maintenance. Mm-hmm. If I need to acquire a lawnmower for myself, I want the customers out there to think, well, that's obvious. We need to think of SCAG. Yep. For people that are entrepreneurs and have their own business, you want to create that sense of community on your social platform, that when people then think about lawn care in general, or whatever your business is, whether it's lawn care, carpentry, plumbing, whatever it is, when people think about that in your local network, in your local area that you serve, you want them to automatically, instantly think of your business.
I love it. I mean, to me, what you just said was so good, with the fact that social media is like your actual digital business card.
Exactly.
Old school, there's actually business cards. I know it's kind of redundant, but we have a business card, right? Well, once I go to a customer, I walk up, the first thing I go, left hand business card, right hand handshake. I literally go shake their hand, right hand. And before we're even disconnecting, they already have my business card in their hand. That's so old school corporate America. It's not even funny. Now, what do you do with your social media? Social media is when somebody jumps online, everything in some different way capacity is your digital business card. There's no such thing as a social media digital business card, but that's what it is. That's what social media is. It's your digital real estate. It's your social proof that you exist online. And if you don't exist online, like you said, this would probably be a good teaser for a good movie with Matt Damon. But if you don't exist online, you don't exist in real life. You know what I mean? And so great tips there. It's funny when I was this is so good. When I was talking to Liz about 2 hours ago before I jumped on the phone with you, she goes, who you got on the podcast today at 11 and at 1? And I said, I got Jake with SCAG. And she goes, oh, the social media guy? I said, the social media guy. And so Liz knows you. I mean, you've met Liz at the GIE rallies, and but you are Jake with SCAG, and you're the social guy. When I think Stanley Dirt Monkey, I think sensational. I think something over the top, with we're going to cut through a car with a chainsaw. Okay, Stan, and that's Stan's brand, right? I think Blake with B&B. I think Stripes. I think SCAG social media, Instagram. I think Stripes. I think Xmark. I think build quality and durability. I think Ventrac. I always think sensational with Ventrac. They're always showing the ridiculousness that their machines can do with chunking pumpkins, right? And the whole deal. So all this stuff, there's a lot more moving behind the scenes, again, that I would encourage you guys, learn about colors, learn about the different platforms, learn best times to post. Well, where do you learn all this? Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, Warren Greshus. There's a book called The Best Damn Sales Book Ever. I'll try to leave a link in the show notes for that. There tons of this stuff. Go Google, just go on YouTube and watch the top 10 videos on better ways to market my business, better if you're making YouTube content, how to make the best thumbnails. I mean, you can literally Google all of this stuff, how to run a successful Instagram campaign, Facebook campaign, right, Jake? I mean, it's really, really simple stuff. All these resources are out there. So again, this is the kind of stuff that, I enjoy listening to and learning about. A little bit different topic, but dude, if you get good at sales and marketing and you can drive the top number, you can hire people to take care of every other number on that P&L, and you can make a boatload of cash. And so my goal is to help you guys grow businesses and make more money. Well, if you want to make more money, you got to get the phone to ring. And how do you get the phone to ring? Well, you have to have good marketing and advertising. So, Jake, really appreciate you, brother, more than you know. I think you alluded to that we just can't get it all in one episode. So maybe we'll have to do another maybe midsummer update, and we'll do this again. What do you think about a part 2?
I think that'd be a great idea. One shameless plug too, not a SCAG shameless plug.
Yeah.
You did ask about resources. Again, I'm not getting paid by these guys at all, but just a helpful tip for you guys that do get involved in social media marketing for your business. One site and resource that I use, I mean, they have articles, high level articles. They have articles that are this is exactly step by step how you create a Facebook ad, or this is exactly how you create a Facebook group. It is a website called Social Media Examiner. Okay. You can find a lot of stuff on Google, but they are kind of one of my go-to places for, hey, I need to learn how to do this. I've not done this before. It is going to be an incredible resource for anyone that's doing any sort of social media marketing to rely on and teach them step by step best practices. It'll be a really great resource for people looking to target or market their business on social media.
I love it. So socialmediaexaminer.com, correct?
Yes.
I love it. Well, we'll make sure to leave that in the show notes as well. So appreciate that, dude. That's a good tip. I always like leaving guys with like some practical stuff that they can execute with. You know what I mean? So all right, guys. Well, hey,
you bet.
Well, Jake, we'll wrap it up here, man. Super appreciate you. If you guys want to check out SCAG and the SCAG Instagram page, that's your boy Jake behind SCAG. That's your boy Jake behind the scenes with SCAG. So make sure you guys check all that out. And again, thanks for making yourself available to help these guys grow their businesses as we head into the upcoming spring and summer rush. So appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, you bet, Brian. You have a great day. All right.
You betcha. All right, man. All right, guys. Well, hey, we'll wrap it up with this. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. If you guys haven't left a review for us just yet, make sure you guys. All right, guys. We'll wrap it up with this. If you guys haven't left us a review just yet, make sure you guys smash that 5 stars and leave a couple sentence comment just to help out the almighty algorithms. We really appreciate that. So, all right, guys. Well, that's it for this episode of Fullerton Unfiltered. We'll catch up with you guys on the next one.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.